Hello everyone, welcome to another Versus Video Deck Tech. I am BBD, joined by
CVM.
Joined at the hip-did. Yeah, the old bearded menace over here, himself in the flesh. Mono G Devotion, what you know about it?
Looks like three-color devotion to me.
Three-color devotion, you're talking about the red and
black.
Oh yeah. We have one worst fears in this deck. I believe that card is CVM's worst nightmare. Yeah. So we have a singularity worst fears off of those Temple of Maladies, just as a big game-ending splashy effect. It's just a fun card. Maybe it's not good. Who cares? It's fun.
It's pretty powerful.
This deck's all about just doing sweet things. So worst fears is pretty sweet. So we have a bunch of mana dudes, a bunch of green permanents, and then Nykthos. That's kind of the shell of the deck. So we're looking to like flood the board with some early green guys. Use Voyaging Satyr to reset and reuse Nykthos, and then just like play a million permanents in one turn. And we have two different engines to kind of keep the fuel going. We have Garruk, Caller of Beasts, who, when you have an active Garruk, you're drawing a million cards a turn. You also are generating a lot of mana a turn if you have a Nykthos. And you're really able to just kind of go ham, as the kids say. Somebody go turkey. You can go roast beef if you want. Anyway, you're going some lunch meat with Garruk at that point, and you're really going to get your opponent there. And then we also have Eidolon of Blossoms, which can start chaining together to draw more and more cards with like Boon Satyr, Corsair, Crufix, and Nylea, God of the Hunt, as well as additional copies of Eidolon of Blossoms. So there's a lot of ways to just kind of draw through our deck. And the awesome thing about this deck is once you're drawing through your deck with all these cards, you can actually still cast everything too because of Nykthos. So it's not like some decks where like you rev for 7 and the next turn you cast one spell and the turn after you cast one spell and you're actually not doing that much. Here you can draw like 6 cards and the next turn cast all 6. So there's a lot of sweet things with that. Nykthos is also really good with Pelucranos. You can monstrous for like
a billion.
A million, yeah, an actual million. So yeah, there's a lot of cool things. Nykthos also good with Nylea. You can give creatures +2/+2 like 6 times. That's just crazy.
That's a lot.
And they also have trample with her abilities. So yeah, this deck's pretty cool. I think that it has the potential to be a solid force. I know I played against a mono green devotion deck in Cincinnati, and that guy ended up getting 13th place. This is a Cyto deck, by the way. Did not design this deck. This is one of Cyto's many creations with Journey to Next Standard. But I think it has potential to be solid because one of the issues with mono green before is that you just kind of die to lots of Thoughtseizes and like Lifebane zombies and stuff. But we actually have like a number of different engines that didn't exist before, like Corsair Crufix, Eidolon of Blossoms, and then Garruk did exist before. But just having all these different engines means like we might be actually able to draw enough cards to power through all the discard and hand disruption effects.
I actually really like Garruk, so I've since stopped playing him in Jund Monsters.
Yep.
Because it's just difficult to cast him. But in a deck like this with Nykthos, like you're casting him, before they can even cast Supreme Verdict, and just pulling way ahead there. And I also really like the interaction to be able to put Nylea into play with Garruk's -3. Like that's something that a lot of people don't really realize you can do, but it's very powerful. It
is, yeah. There's actually a lot of power in Garruk, and this is kind of like one of the best shells to take advantage of him. So we're going to jump over to the sideboard before we do some serious battle.
Here you go. Ready when you guys are.
So we are back with the sideboard. CVM, did you know that 2 copies of Burn were in the top 4 of the last Standard Open?
They were?
They were.
Man, I wonder what cards would be good against Burn.
Hopefully they've got a lot of skull cracks, because otherwise they're not going to beat this. Bow of Nylea, Nylea's Disciple. We're just all in on Nylea. The only Nylea card we're not playing is the Presence, but Nylea's Presence is certainly felt in this deck anyway. And that's from the heart. But yeah, we have Nylea's Disciple and Bow of Nylea. Just a large erect middle finger to the Burn decks. They can War Leader Helix you 3 times, and you can just gain it all back. And I preferably laugh in their face as you do it. Maybe that's unsportsmanlike. I don't know. That's just how I like to do it. Yeah, gaining some serious life against the Burn decks, killing some Chandra's Phoenixes just all day long. Also just very good against aggressive decks in general. just to stem the bleeding, as they say.
Until our giant monsters take over.
Exactly. 2 Uzis. Yep, those are just there to like gun down some creatures in the graveyard, and really they're just very good in like any kind of creature-y, grindy matchup to bring in those guys. And then 2 Arbor Colossus is to swat Stormbreath Dragon out of the air, is essentially the main role of Big Colossus.
Also good against the Desecration Demon too.
Yep, he's a reasonable answer to Big D. And then we have 2 Setessan Tactics, which I think this card's like really awesome. In a lot of the old green mirror match type matchups where you're playing against other green decks, or just other creature decks in general, like Naya or any of those kinds of decks, just having Setessan Tactics, you can just, play out a bunch of your creatures and then next turn Tactics and just shoot down every single one of their guys. Yeah. And you can also just play it as a big pump spell too if you need to. Attack in with all your guys, just pump your entire team with the Nykthos. A lot of sweet things you can do with that. We have 1 Unravel, just mostly for like the hexproof decks. I don't think you care too much about enchantments out of other decks, but it's in there anyway. And then 3 Mistcutters, just for like mono blue and any of the control decks. This deck can generate so much mana, but it's still hard to push through mono blue's board because like Master Waves and stuff. But if we're generating, like if our Nykthoses are for like 8 or whatever, Mistcutter's a fairly sizable gentleman. So, and he's out there looking for blood. So, all in all, I think this deck's kind of cool. We'll see how it plays against the format's Boogeyman in Black-Green Devotion. Hoping it beats the crap out of it, but I guess only time will tell. So stay tuned and see how that plays out.